Difficult. Women.
Hey.
Hello.
Hi. How's it going?
Well, we just spoke for 35 minutes before we turned on these microphones.
I was going to pretend like we hadn't, but we do. That's what we do.
We don't lie to our listeners,
Oh,
Katy.
that's right. I just to myself. I just lie to myself.
Wait, what's your name?
My name is Katy. And what's your name?
Marie,
and this,
for now.
And this is what? What is this?
I don't know.
This is the Difficult Women podcast. Thank you for listening.
That's right. We're loopy-doopy because it's later than normal for us to pod.
Right.
I feel like there's a sweet spot for us when we pod.
It's like a 1 hour window.
If it's too early, doesn't go well. If it's too late,
forget it. And
no
when we
way.
say late, it's like 4:30 Marie's time.
So late.
Like in the PM. Not in the morning.
Hey, if it's dark out, I don't want a pod. I'm sorry.
No, it's
I want a cocktail. I want a cock or a cocktail.
Both. All of the above. Speaking of cock, guess what happened to me today? I lost my meat.
What, your sausages?
Yes, I ordered sausages. So I'm trying to be a better consumer, right? We're trying to do better. I'm trying to do better. I've been really trying to, and I've been trying to eat better, more whole foods and all that shit. I'm trying to like be more mindful of like where my produce is coming from. And one of the big issues with the environment is like where your meat is coming from. So if you are still consuming meat, you are better off consuming meat that is produced in like in a good quality farm environment and not in one of these like mass murder farm environments where I still eat from. But you know what I mean? Like, just you're not supposed to do that.
No judgment.
I mean, I'm trying, right? Mm-hmm. So I was like, I'm going to do the thing. And I ordered a butcher box finally, which that is all supposedly sustainable meat, like really good farm places and whatever, grass fed, I don't know, stuff, good things.
Did they provide you the names of the cows that you're going to be consuming?
I hope. They'll send it like, this is Bessie, this is Linda, this is Daisy. But so I was here for it, and it was like, it's just me. So it was actually a really good deal for me because I will be eating all of the meat and you can freeze it. So it's just like 2 months worth of meat. But my goddamn door in my building is broken. The front door of my building is broken. And
that's safe.
Oh God. In New York City during the apocalypse. Yeah, it's real safe. It's not a good thing. But so I got the email and I picked up a shift at work today. So I was supposed to be home today to receive the package.
The meat.
To receive the meat. Man, I need to receive some meat. Yeah, I got just a little
moment of silence for meat receiving.
Yeah. Anyway, so I got the message that the meat had arrived.
It's so late. That's why we're loopy.
It's 4:30. But the meat had arrived at 1:30. I was home by 4:30, and it was gone. It was long gone.
Oh, no. Somebody stole your meat?
Someone stole my meat.
God damn it.
So we'll see.
That is mean. But
so
also
mean.
Maybe they need meat.
I mean, I hope they're not vegetarians because then, I hope they enjoy that meat because it's, I don't know. So I'm going to figure out if I can actually do butcher box or if I am just going to be like supplying the neighborhood with meat, like free meat.
You see the headlines like packages stolen all over the place. And it's like, yeah, we're in a pandemic.
I mean, I don't blame people for stealing packages really, but it still sucks.
It's bad.
It still
we
sucks.
have I shouldn't even say this, but we have a secret bench on our front porch. And I have a really great neighbor who, like, if I get a package, he puts it in the bench.
That's smart.
Opens up. It's like he'll text me. I put a package in your bench. And I'm like, thanks.
Like, please, that's another one. Can you please put a package in my bench? That's what I need right now. Is a little package in my bench.
Some meat. I need some meat.
It's a meat receiving.
Oh God. Okay,
Lord.
It's going great.
Yeah, that's about. I mean, but that's where we're at. What I was going to say about that. Oh yeah, I'm like the package. I'm in the package captain in my ship of an apartment because there's like a corner in my apartment where you come around the corner. And so I always like manage the packages around the corner so people can't see them from the doorway.
That's
See?
nice.
That's smart thinking.
So whenever you hear the buzzer, you rush out and like take the package and put it around down the hallway?
No, I'm not quite that good at captaining.
Oh,
but if I leave my apartment and I see packages, or if I come out to get my package and there was more than one that was left or something, I will absolutely move your package, even if it's very heavy. Unless it's like really heavy, and then maybe I'll leave it. But then no one's going to steal it if it's really heavy. Anyway, this is all.
Wow.
Package 101. Well, you know what time it is. It's time to check in on our self-love challenge. Yeah.
I almost love myself.
You're getting there. One weekend.
I know. One weekend. I already love I am currently loving myself right now. I'll be right back.
Yes.
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, yeah. We have Lori Woolridge back with us to tell us all about our week 2 challenge. What do you got for us, Lori? We're so excited.
Yeah, so I hope you guys had fun this past week, getting to know yourself a little better, seeing yourself and other people and all those good things. So this week is a very special week because, of course, it is leading up to what I like to call every day is Valentine's Day. So this week is about romancing the one. The only way that you can have a loving, amazing, committed relationship with someone else is to make sure that you're strong with your own relationship with yourself. And romance is a big part of it. Because if you're not able to show yourself that you are worthy of consideration and affection and special little gifts, not because you did something amazing like closing all the rings in your, exercise thing, but because you just are, then how can you expect anybody else to see that value as well? So this week, you are going to romance yourself through your 5 senses. And let me tell you, this sounds like okay, that's easy, but the ability to be in the moment and focus on the beauty and the amazingness that's around you, whether it's through your sight, through your hearing, through your taste, is one of the ways that the world becomes interactive, the way you feel alive instead of just living. And it also allows you to see how able you are to receive, which is a big thing.
Receive
and
love.
Exactly, because what is, the most delicious, exquisite tasting chocolate but a gift? And if you're just like popping it in your mouth and not even tasting it. So that's going to tell you a lot about your ability to receive, which is huge. And it's also can tell you a lot about who you are as an authentic person. So remember, you can't love who you don't know. So these are all ways that you are going to learn more about yourself.
This is so exciting because my least favorite day on the eternity of the world is Valentine's Day. I hate Valentine's Day because of all the pressures of like trying to be in this perfect relationship. And I love that this week is all about focusing on a different kind of love leading up to this horrible, horrible day. And you can make this a really wonderful day instead. And I'm excited about that.
Well, yeah. And you know what? It's a mindset thing, right? Even if you have a relationship, the pressure to make it romantic and stuff when, you're PMSing or, work was hell and nobody feels like it. But I got to be loving whatever because it says so. So that's a real big lesson in self-love. You aren't tied to the clock. You aren't tied to the calendar. It is every day has got to be Valentine's Day because it is a celebration of love and you are nothing if you are not love, or you are the essence of who you are is love. And so this challenge, this week culminates in you taking all the things that you learned about yourself through your senses, stuff you like to taste, things you like to feel, what you like to hear, and putting it all together to celebrate yourself on every day is Valentine's Day. And so even if you are hooked up and partnered up, you want to make sure you set aside some time, whether it's the 14th or not, to celebrate yourself and loving yourself aside from the couple love.
Love it. And if you guys are just joining this self-love challenge right now and you're like, wait a minute, I missed the boat. It's totally fine. You can just jump on whenever you'd like. If you go on over to solsexy.co, that's SOL, sexy.co, you can download the workbook that we're working from and see all the information that Lori has for this challenge.
That's right. And the link is right there down below in the description of this podcast. And again, if you join us on this 28-day challenge, you get a little sexy orgy at the end with all of us.
You're promising too much with this orgy.
That's right.
Where was that in the app?
Is that?
I don't remember anything that said orgy.
We're all going to
private
meet.
Orgy.
We're going to meet
She's
up
going to have an orgy. Yeah, okay.
in a red velvet room.
Well, alrighty then.
But please check out her website. The link is below in the description. And thank you. I don't know about you, but I'm really, really liking this self-love challenge.
Me too. I mean, it really is amazing how you think this stuff, it's like, oh, whatever, who cares? Blah. Capitalism. Like, no, not capitalism. It's really helpful to like turn in and look inside a little bit and figure some of this shit out. Mm-hmm. So you can be better people for the world.
Yes.
You know?
I do have to bring up one thing. I was chatting with a girlfriend of mine last night. We both pulled out our hinges and switched to make sure that we weren't talking to the same people, which I do recommend people doing in smaller towns. In New York, I feel like we never really dated or went on dates of the same people. I don't think. But
I mean, we wouldn't know. But
with her, I was like, oh my God, I went out with that guy. There was one guy, Brandon. I accidentally texted him, hey, Brendan. And then he never talked to me again because I guess he thought I didn't know his name, which I just spelled incorrectly. Anyway, my point of talking about her is that last night we were discussing just like this idea of loving yourself so much that then you attract the love of your life. Mm-hmm. And she called bullshit on it, which I don't think Lori would approve. But she was like, I've been loving myself for 10 years and I'm still single. And she was like, and half of my friends are married and I could guarantee that they don't love themselves. It's like,
but I think also it's not about like, it's not that you like, if your goal in loving yourself is to find a partner, I think you're kind of missing the point. Because I think that part of what the point, and like, I think that you can be more, from my experience, I'm the kind of person that has a tendency to attract people that are not good for me.
Right. Uh-huh.
And that stems from a not fully respecting myself level. Mm-hmm. So does it, if I learn to love myself, does it mean that I will 100% meet this perfect man? I don't know. Maybe not 100% chance of that. But what it will 100% do is prevent me from dating any more douche noodles. And I am so much happier not dealing with that fucking bullshit anymore.
Right.
And then I leave more room in my life for good men to come in. And that's why I think it feels like you attract good men in when you love yourself more, because what you're really doing is setting some boundaries finally and saying like, I don't need having self-respect and understanding like, who am I in this relationship or in any relationship? And what am I willing to put up with and not put up with? And like, then, because when I think the other thing that people do a lot, I was going to say women, but I think it's both men and women, is that they like find themselves in unhealthy dynamics with a partner and then they waste years of their lives with that person. Right. Years of their lives, unhappy, unfulfilled. And why? For what purpose? Why? Because there's like a fear of being alone. There's a fear of like not, doing better. When the truth is you can absolutely do better and you absolutely should not be afraid of being alone, and you don't have to be alone forever. Right. But, and you can make better choices if you actually know how to love yourself. Right. And that's why like this, I think this challenge thing is so great, because I don't, if you're out there thinking like, I don't need this shit, like I honestly say try it, because we didn't done anything like this before on the show. No. Why would we be doing it unless we really thought like this is important for people? And again, I don't think we've emphasized this at all yet, but like this isn't just for women. Somebody posted something on one of our pages. This is important for anybody. And it's just a good little step into a world that we don't spend enough time in, which is like, who am I and what do I what do I deserve? What do I have to offer? And that's for men and women.
Yeah, no, it's
so that's
very
what's really cool about this work. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll tell my friend, hey, join our challenge.
Listen, join the challenge and you'll see.
Join the challenge. All right.
Yeah.
That's so, I'm so grateful that Lori's doing that with us.
Me too.
And like we said, you know, at the end next month, we're going to be doing a huddle online with everybody that completes the challenge. You can join us, Difficult Women. We're going to be there huddling, talking about the challenge and reflecting on everything and what we've
and
learned.
reflecting on and we want to hear what your experiences have been and like did it feel different? Is it something you've explored before? Is it something I really am interested in hearing from people that have never done this kind of introspective work before? You know, like the people that are the most resistant to it, I encourage you the most to just try it. Just try it. It's free, it's easy, it's not a big deal.
Free. There's a cool workbook you download and work from.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's neat.
I love it. All right.
What more can you ask?
Well, let's dive into our topic today. I'm so excited about this topic.
All right.
We today are going to talk about why women play dumb.
What do you mean? I don't know. What could you ever mean?
It was interesting. Like, it's curious. Like, should we say why women play dumb? Do women play dumb? Have you
It's definitely
seen?
why women play dumb.
Why do we
It's
play?
not a question.
Yeah, it happens. And I've
happens.
seen it. I mean, I have friends. My sister. I hate to throw her under the bus. My one of my sisters kind of. I watch her do it, and let me tell you, she does it specifically to get attention from men, and it works. She always gets the man. But it's at a detriment to herself. It's hard to watch.
to men, honestly, and to like the whole system.
The whole system. When you play dumb, it breaks down the whole system. So let's get into it.
Well, I would say I have absolutely played dumb to try to navigate a situation before, at work or something, or certainly with like boyfriends in the past, where part of it is a manipulation. I think like how do I get what I need to get out of the situation, and sometimes even in a work environment. Like, if you come in guns a-blazing with all the answers, even if you have them, some men, bosses, and men that you work with are not going to listen to you.
Some women, too.
Some women, yeah. I was thinking, like, do I play dumb around women? And I would say I can't. Maybe I have, and I just can't think of an example. Maybe, do you have an example where you had to do it in front of a woman?
I have been reflecting on this. I feel like, I'm an expert in my field at this point with podcasting and producing, and people do come to me when I work with a majority. I'm so lucky, a majority of women. I have a team of women I work with, and I do catch myself in the emails and phrases I use to make sure I don't make them feel less smart because they're not the expert. But here's the thing, I am the expert. I've spent years learning this, so I shouldn't feel guilty or ashamed at my place in knowledge. But I don't want to make other women feel dumb. But like, I think you posted it on our Instagram recently, just certain phrases and that we use to like kind of dumb down what were our statements. And I don't have my phone, but if you remember what you said.
Well, just things like, I was just wondering, or I just this, and, just kind of like.
Don't take my word for it.
Taking the power. Yeah, or I'm not really sure, but maybe, that kind of stuff. That women do that in a way that a lot of men, not that men never do that, but in a way that in a higher rate than men do. And, and it's sort of interesting how like it comes out in different levels. Cause I was also thinking of like, I remember this one time I was building something with a boyfriend, and he was struggling to put it together. And I could feel this, like, I was like, I think you just put this here. And then he'd be like, I know how to do it kind of thing. One of those things. And I knew already, I had built the thing in my brain like 10 minutes earlier, and and that was one of the lines in our mansplaining song where you're like, I build this shit. I just am good at that. It has nothing to do with me, anything. I'm just good at that stuff. But I had to sort of just stand and watch him. And I was like, I don't know. Okay. Yeah, you do it, whatever you want. Because they needed to prove something. I don't know what was going on, but it was like it hurting them and their idea of masculinity or something. This idea that I could build something that quicker than they could, something like that.
Yeah.
So then I instead of saying like, dude, relax, like, let me just do it. To avoid conflict, I just was like, okay, well, I don't know. Oh, you're doing, and I remember being like, you're doing so good. Oh my God. Like,
a cheerleader.
What a good job you're doing. Yeah. Cause you're just like, I can feel the tension and I'm going to diffuse it as if it's my responsibility to diffuse it because that person was like bad at what they were doing, you know? So that was like, so I think there's like, it can manifest itself in a lot of different ways.
Right. And I think that the times that I've played dumb the most, it's not like a long-term thing. It's more of an in the moment. It's like an exit strategy. And I think, and I want to say, I played dumb in a very terrifying situation. Like when I first moved to New York, I was young and I was waiting tables and I took a cab home and the cab driver got on the West Side Highway. The BQE on the other side of town and started going up towards Queens. When I told him I lived in Brooklyn, he started saying some really inappropriate things to me. I was like, do I jump out of the cab? This man has like kind of kidnapped me. But I immediately started playing dumb. Where are you going? I thought we were da-da-da-da. Because I felt I was like in a very terrifying situation. And my instinct was to play dumb. And I tell you what, that saved my life.
Absolutely. Because it sort of like makes you this, I don't know what, but
yeah, this like,
you're not combative against
no,
him.
I literally told him,
you're not dangerous.
Honey, I can't tonight. I have to work.
Right.
You just picked me up. Like I'm a waitress. I have to be at work. I have to work brunch tomorrow morning so early. Give me your phone number and I'll call you tomorrow. We can have a proper date. What, like just had to really play stupid. And it saved my life.
Right. And I certainly have done that. I was in a situation once where I was accidentally camping with someone.
Right.
I didn't know.
I remember this.
I was camping with them. We did not speak the same language. And I was alone in the woods with this person that was like really trying to put the moves on me. And I was fucking terrified. And I remember I didn't sleep a wink that night. And the whole night, because I couldn't be like, I was so afraid and I couldn't get home. So I was like so afraid that if I was like, hey, stop it. Like, I don't know what the fuck you think you're doing, but we had a misunderstanding. If I did that, I didn't know what was going to happen. So the whole night it was like, oh, no. Oh, no. I'm not that kind. No, not, playing this like act because I was like, holy fucking shit. I just have to get out of here.
Right.
So like, that's another level of like playing dumb.
Right.
That where you're putting on a facade basically to like,
be less
you
than.
Cannot
be
less than, and also because like it is going to be the way you can navigate whatever that situation is with the least amount of conflict. And I don't think that is a thing that men deal with, certainly not nearly as much as women do. I'd be curious if there's some guy out there that had an experience like that. But I guarantee you that every woman who's listening to this right now is nodding their head like, yep. One of those kind of situations has come up before. So what is going on here? What is the issue here? Well, there was this study that was done in 2014 at the University of Warwick. And after the study, they determined that, yes, girls feel that they must play dumb to please boys. That's part of the thing. And this researcher, Dr. Maria Pereira, I think is how you pronounce it, from the University of Warwick's Department of Sociology, found that boys aged 14 had acquired the belief that girls their age should be less intelligent. And the girls reacted accordingly. So that the boys would like them. And so the boys weren't made uncomfortable. And the way that this doctor, I thought this was interesting. It was like, how did she find out this information? Well, she went, she like lived with the kids at school. Like she just went to school with the kids, did everything that they did. She went out, hung out with them after school, became like a friend basically. So she was able to have conversations and experiences that parents never saw, that teachers never saw. And the kids started trusting her. And like, she could just,
she's like Jane Goodall.
Determining she was the Jane Goodall of middle school students. Yeah. I love it. But one of the things that she sort of determined that I thought was so great or so interesting. Well, she says that Young people try to adapt their behavior according to these pressures to fit into society. One of the pressures is that young men must be more dominant, more clever, stronger, taller, funnier than young women, and that being in a relationship with a woman who is more intelligent will undermine their masculinity. Back to the fucking masculinity bullshit.
Right.
So as she was like learning all of this stuff, one of her things that she determined was she was noticing that girls then felt like they must downplay their own abilities, pretending is the key word, to be less intelligent than they actually are, not speaking out against harassment and withdrawing, this is so sad, from hobbies, sports, and activities that might seem unfeminine because of these like social pressures. And she said, trying to live up to these unreal ideas of masculinity and femininity lead to a range of problems, including low self-esteem, bullying, physical and verbal violence, health problems, and tragic loss of potential in our young people. Therefore, we must promote ideas about gender which are less rigid and recognize that there are many ways of being a man and a woman. And she determined from all this that this is not a natural response. This idea that this is where fucking Jordan Peterson makes me want to tear my eyes out, is that he loves to push this idea that it is natural for men to be like this, and it's natural for women to be like, men should be masculine and women should be feminine, and that is a biological reality. And what we're really observing here is that it's not a biological reality that women are dumber.
That's social.
It's that women pretend to be dumber to make men more comfortable. Jesus. And they do it and men feel insecure about it because they are told by society that they better be more, they better be funnier than that woman. They better be smarter than her. So everybody's losing in this scenario.
I will say I'm hopeful that it's getting better.
And this, I will say also, because this was done in 2014, I think they're actually, in some ways, this younger generation seems to be much more open about gender fluidity and stuff, too.
Right. But also, I do think, because of Me Too, I think that women and men are speaking out more and staying more true to themselves. I do feel like as the older you get, the wiser you become, and the more you know yourself too. So it does, and then you learn. I don't know about you. I'm assuming, but like these dates we go on, the more you love yourself and are confident within, you don't play dumb. You lead with your intelligence because that's something you're really proud of, and it's a gift. And if you meet, we want to meet a person that matches our intelligence or not. I'm just saying that you don't want to dim your light, basically.
Right. And I think that what I'm learning as I get older with relationships is that I don't need to be in a relationship with someone if I have to pretend to be something I'm not.
Exactly.
I don't want to do that.
Right.
And I will even say, the last relationships I've been in, I did not have a problem where they were, just in case they're listening, whatever, that they were thinking that they liked that I was a smart person. They liked that I was like a strong person. But there's also been some people that have not liked that, And certainly on dates, you'll know pretty fast if you're being truthful to yourself and you're smart and they don't like that, you can tell right away.
Oh, I remember.
So just choose to not see that person.
Well,
again,
that anti-vaxxer I had that lovely date with this past summer. I did not shy away from my intelligence and my knowledge of Trump's history and the facts that I was throwing at this man. He just was misinformed, and it was quite sad. But I even for that date, knowing this fucking idiot. If you're listening, you're an idiot. He's a big fan now. No, just kidding.
I would be shocked.
But even that, I was really trying to be polite and ladylike in my debate with him.
Right.
Which, that's a whole other, that we could do another podcast about that, of just being soft and genteel for a man so you don't scare him off. But it's fuck this guy. He just told me that he, keeping kids in cages on the border was not a human rights violation. It's okay, fuck this guy. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
And that's yeah. No, but that reminds me too. So I lost my notes before this, so I don't have any. Not unlike
coming from your brain.
I'm not citing my sources. It's all just coming from my memory, which is questionable at best. But there was another sort of like a editorial type article that I was looking at where this woman was talking about this phenomena, and she had an example of she was with a friend, and they were talking, a girlfriend, and they were talking about I didn't even know what this thing was they were talking about. So she's smarter than I am. But they were talking about some concept, right? And they were debating the concept, and she was trying to explain it to her friend. But she was like, I might be missing some points of this. I'm not 100% sure. So she was trying to explain it. And then as they were talking about it, they got into an Uber, and the guy who was driving the Uber was overhearing. And she says in the article, we invited him into the conversation. He did not push his way in. So she wants to clarify that. So then he was part of the conversation, but he started to explain what this topic was, this like idea. And as she's listening to him, she's like, I know it's not that. She's like, I'm sure it's not. He's getting, I might be getting confused, but he's definitely getting confused. So she was sort of trying to correct him, and she found herself, she was sure that what he was saying wasn't quite right. And so she would say, I could be wrong. I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think that's it. Like, I really do think it is like this. And then he would come back to her with, no, I'm 100% sure. Yeah. It's definitely this. It's definitely this. And she was saying, so she's not shitting on the guy or anything. And then she started doubting herself. Right. So then she's like, I got out of the cab, and I right away went to check on Google to see, because now I'm not sure anymore. And she realized that even the stuff that she was questioning originally in her own mind about what was right and not, she actually was all 100% right. She'd gotten it all right. And this guy had gotten it fully wrong. And she's like, so what is that as a woman, I was coming into this scenario with, and we had sort of touched on this earlier, but with this notion of I don't know, I'm questioning myself now. Whereas he's 100% confident that he's right. 100%. He was like, nope, that's it. Mm-hmm. He wasn't even debating it. And that is just sort of a microcosm of how I think men and women are functioning in the world anyway. Mm-hmm. And that there's an assumption that a woman could be wrong, but there's an assumption that the man is always right.
Right.
And that that's what it's supposed to be. So women play into it, men play into it. It just becomes this weird pattern, I
have to admit something, and I'm not proud of this, but I've been curious. I've been listening, not a lot. Don't worry, folks. But I've been curious about Joe Rogan.
I think it's good to listen, by the way, because it's better to have an opinion on something you actually
absolutely
are listening to.
Totally.
So I think that's good.
I do too, especially just some specific episodes that people are getting really up in arms about. If I'm going to have real debate, I need to be able to listen to them. So anyway.
Yes, I think that's good.
The thing that I'm amazed at with Joe Rogan in these interviews is how 100% confident he is in everything that comes out of his mouth. Right. And if he has a guest on that questions what he has said, even a scientist, and he doubles down on it, and then they Google it, but the phrasing that he uses and just the amount of confidence in this person who was just a host of Fear Factor and a stand-up comedian.
And he's also been punched in the head 1,000 times because he was a UFC fighter before that.
But the amount of confidence that this man has in the statements that he says and believes is exactly what you're saying. If he's debating with somebody, he's like, no, I'm 100% right. And that's tricky because it's really hard to then have millions and millions of followers with a man who is just 100% confident in whatever he says what he feels like that day. It's very dangerous, and I think that's where I'm understanding and listening to this man where it can be detrimental to society with just this real masculine energy. I don't know. It's not my thing.
And I wonder too, as a man, what is the solution? As a woman, what is the solution to this? I think that women shouldn't doubt themselves so much. Not that women should be doing the same. Don't be a Joe Rogan either. Don't be so confident in all of your comments and then you're wrong half the time. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So there's that. I guess I think though there is sort of a negative feedback loop that starts happening when we all continue to play dumb when we don't need to, Mm-hmm. And then I guess we also have to we also just have to train our men to know that, like, that's why I think Jordan Peterson is so dangerous, because he's really pushing this notion of like how important it is to maintain the male masculinity and stuff. When the truth is, it's like, we have to, what is the definition of masculinity you're talking about?
Right.
That you're smarter than women?
Right.
That's masculinity? Because like there are going to be, and I'm not even saying women are smarter than men. I'm not saying that, by the way. I'm saying individually, person to person, you are going to find individuals who are smarter than you and dumber than you. And it's not going to be based on their gender.
Right.
It's going to be based on genetic factors and educational factors and just, you know, how many times were you dropped on the head?
Right.
I was dropped once. So, you know, I'm missing a few brain cells. But like, that's part of what, you know, we have to just start getting. I was just talking to a friend about this. We were talking about equality. And she was like, you know, can I tell you a secret? She's like, I don't believe in equality. And she's like, I certainly don't believe we have equality right now. And as I thought about it, I was like, you know, I think that maybe sometimes that I wonder, maybe the word equality is not the word we should be using when we're fighting for our rights and things, right? Because yeah, nobody's equal. Some people are taller. Some people are shorter. Some people are bigger. Some people are smaller. No one's the same. But what we are fighting for is respect.
Yes, I was about to say
and
respect.
When right, that's what that everybody is treated with the same amount of respect, no matter who you are, and especially masses of people like women, like women should be treated with the same amount of respect as men, right?
And that's
gay people should be treated with the same amount of respect as heterosexual people.
Right.
They should be able to get married just like a heterosexual person. That kind of equality is really, I think, because what Jordan Petersons want to do all the time is go back and be like, well, men have more muscles biologically, so we are the dominant. It's like, but
right. And
we don't
your
live in that world
job
anymore.
You are a vessel for my seed.
Right. And it's like, we don't live in that world anymore, you know? And I'm not even sure we ever did. There's not even that much, you know, there's a lot of notions now that, yeah, maybe the man did the heavy lifting, but the woman did the. So there's equality there too, where it's like both jobs need respect.
And that's why everyone should be feminists. You should identify yourself as a feminist because all it means is mutual respect between sexes. That's all, right?
Yeah.
But there's so many people out there that say that they're not feminists because it does have a little bit of a bad rap, and I want to change that.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to playing dumb. Yeah, I do think it's more common. I think that, you know, as far as intellect goes, like, I do really remember, you know, I struggled so much preteens, like in middle school and junior high school, and really taking stock and like understanding how much more mature I was than the boys. I mean, physically, but mentally, especially. Like, I just felt like my emotions were at a different place. And statistically and genetically, that's true. Women develop their minds faster than men. And so it's interesting for that study that you bring up about these 14-year-olds, the Jane Goodall woman.
Yeah.
That even though women, you know, young women are developing faster than men, that we still take stock in and dim our lights to please them. It's just...
Well, and this idea, it just really, the thing that made me the most sad for the kids is that not just the dimming of the lights and like, and maybe not working as hard in school because you don't want to get better grades than your boyfriend when you're 14 or something, because you feel bad if you get 100% and he got an 85 or something, which is fucked up in itself. But what also really bummed me out was that, like, if a girl has an interest in like astronomy or something, that she might choose not to join the astronomy club because it's not feminine. Like, that makes me very sad and upset. And I was thinking about myself, like, I was very shy through school. And then I got real angry in high school. So I don't know. I can't remember about like the playing dumb so much. But one thing I absolutely did, I was going to say did, but what I absolutely didn't do was I never spoke up in class. I was like, I never was the one like raising my hand. I never was the one, because I had so much self-doubt When I probably knew the answer more often than not. Whereas there would be people in class that would be like, you know, talking over me and shooting their hands up. And I think I've learned, some people that might listen to this podcast might be like, but you're so assertive now. I'm like, well, because that was a learned skill. Because I was pushed aside and talked over so much that you started to just go, oh. And then I will say too, I think it helped going to an all women's college. I think in my particular case, I was extremely shy. And so just to have a little more space, I still didn't speak up a lot in class. That was always something that made me nervous. But it gave me a little more space to, at least it wasn't like, we were like eliminating this issue of like what a boy would think of you or like what, you know what I mean? And so I would feel less embarrassed if I was wrong. Because that was another thing too. I always felt like if I was wrong after raising my hand, then bye. I don't know what to say. It's like the boys in the class were like, oh no, that's wrong. I know what it is. And you're like, yeah. And then you feel like an ass. And so like, I'd rather just not try, which was like not good, you know?
Oh, well, I do want to state, I was reading an article in The Atlantic that said like the amount of stress and anxiety that is induced by downplaying your smartness and your intelligence, it stresses women out. It causes high anxiety. And they're fully aware that they cannot be their actual selves.
Yeah.
If you're just constantly trying to shrink yourself and not let yourself
That makes sense.
shine.
That tracks.
Yeah, it just gets you more stressed out and anxious all the time.
Well, because you're constantly having, and this actually makes me think of another thing that I was seeing about women and navigating the world. It's like women are constantly having to mentally, in every new situation you're stepping into, at any given moment, if there's other people involved, especially men, you're having to like navigate the situation mentally. Like, how do I approach this man? How do I, if I'm too aggressive, he's going to not stop listening to me, or he's going to hurt me. Or if I'm too, you know, if I outshine him in this meeting, the boss will then call me like a know-it-all and make, you know, and that was another thing that I found fascinating was apparently like dumbness in people was associated with kindness and intelligence was associated with being cold. And as a woman, you're supposed to be this warm place for men to land on and children and stuff. Whereas you're not supposed to be like cold or whatever.
Well, in my work environment lately, like I'm super warm, I'm super positive, and I have a Southern accent. And I feel like more times than not, I have people perceive me as this dumb Southerner sometimes. And I really have to work harder to prove myself, which is unfortunate. That's just kind of the world we live in, I guess. But it's that Southern accent and the stuff that's happening down in the South, like, you know, politically is really, not everybody is like that. But you do have to work a little harder. And I remember like when I first moved to New York, like kind of getting made fun of for my Southern accent and having agents and stuff saying like, you got to get rid of it. And it took me some time to really double down on like, you know what, it's not going anywhere. It's like, I can do a standard dialect if I have to, but it's tricky. It's hard. But that like warmth, that is who I am. I tried to be cold. I tried to be more assertive when I first moved to New York City. Cause you have to kind of to survive. But then I do remember like being like, but this is not me. Like I am a warm person. I like to be slower than, you know, take my time and with people. And so that's just, but it took me time and to grow older to realize like, that's on other people. That doesn't have to do with me.
Yeah. And I think I'm having sort of almost an opposite experience in my work environment where like I'm very assertive and I've stopped apologizing for it. And sometimes that means that my people I'm working with can, I think, sometimes take me as a little prickly or like cold. And in my opinion, if I'm not saying anything that's untrue or that's, you know, but it's uncomfortable, especially in like film. I think it's so unusual for women to be behind the camera anyway, so it sort of takes people aback to hear me say like, hey, like why don't we try it like this or whatever, and, you know, whatever that assertion is. And So, but I think I'm also a very kind person. I've always said, like, I don't know that I'm super nice all the time, but I think I'm very kind. So, like, I will tell you, I will be,
you're extremely
yes, and I will be
respectful.
honest with you. And I will be honest with you, you know, because, like, that's, sometimes honesty isn't always nice, but I don't want to lie, you know what I mean? But also, when we're working with actors, you want to be very kind and careful with them because it's a very vulnerable place when you're putting yourself out there. So I'm never harsh like that. But I think again, because I'm a woman, it can strike not the other actors, but the people that I work with sometimes. I think that they find me like very loud and outspoken, and I am. And I've had to kind of quell my own inner stuff, like of wanting to be liked. And instead, you know, at one point I was working, especially for the art, you know what I mean? Especially if I'm like trying to make something that's going to be cool. I was working with my boss on one scene once, and we get along so well, and he's so freaking awesome. But we were working together. He was shooting the scene and I was directing it. We're working. And at one point, and this other girl that works with us was watching. And at one point he came and he said, okay, this is what we're going to do. And I was like, no, let's do this instead. And I didn't even think twice about it. I just said, he goes, okay, fine. That sounds good. And so we had the really good whatever. And the other girl that we work with, she's like, I've never seen anybody talk to him like that. And I was like, but he respects me and I feel safe being myself in front of him. And if he were to be like, actually, no, Katy, we're not doing it like that, I'm the boss, I'd be like, okay, gotcha. Like, no problem. But like, there's just I've sort of fallen into this place, at least for me, where I'm like, this is who I am. And like, not everybody's going to like it. I'm so sorry, but I'm not that. And not sorry. And I like that too. And I think that there's balance for both and everybody has their own way. And the key isn't to be more assertive if you're not. The key is to be yourself and own every part of yourself, you know. Sorry, I feel like I went on a long weird
No,
tangent.
I think that's great. I think that should be really celebrated. Because I do think that you have, I mean, I've known you now 13 years, 14 years. Gosh. So lucky. But I've seen you, but I have seen you transform through the years of like being more assertive and more confident. And especially I would love to be a fly on the wall and watch you work now.
Yeah. Well, you can come on by sometime. Well, and you and I have both had situations where we've been working with men where they're trying to bully us around. And then we've had to like, I mean, I think about that one show we did where he didn't want to pay us. And then it was just like, Katy, go get the money. I was like, I got the money, baby. I'm going to go
I'll
get
be
it.
outside
And I
like
had to
a bouncer.
tell him.
And then, yeah.
And I'm like this tiny, I'm like 5'3" or whatever. And I don't know what's going to happen. But I was like, fuck this shit. We're leaving with our full payment. I don't care if this show sucked. That wasn't our fault.
Yeah.
We did good. Anyway, but I mean, I think that you have those moments where you start just deciding like, how am I going to navigate this? And I'm tired of being like, oh, but please, can't you just give us our full amount, please?
That we came up here, that we agreed
it
on beforehand.
Yeah. And I've done it. I've done that whole, oh, really, please, no. And then you kind of manipulate it out of them because you're like, God, and that's just too much work. Just give me my fucking money.
Yeah, right.
That's it. I don't care if you like me. You don't need to like me after it. Just pay me. That's how I feel.
I love
anyway, that's just me. I feel like I left my body for a second and went on like a rant.
I love it. Well, I hope our listeners feel empowered, you know?
Yeah. And I don't know what the answer is because like you said, sometimes it's a safety issue, right? So you got to do what you got to do. But maybe we all try to understand that maybe it doesn't have to happen like this anymore,
right?
You know?
And then, but also like it's not long term. Like don't play dumb like for eternity. Like if there's a safety situation, get in, get out. Like use it as an exit strategy. But like really, just know who you are and do not ever apologize for it. Look at your emails. How are you responding to people? And I'm telling that to myself. Like, no more apologizing.
Extra stuff.
And I found your thing that you posted. Ladies, one thing we're not doing in 2022 is ending sentences with "if that makes sense" and "if that's okay." Just tell the others. Like, just fucking do it.
I may have said that phrase already in this podcast. I think what I mean is, I'm not really sure, but it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah, it's very hard because it's way more, there's more stuff going on around it. Full society and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, it's great.
It's fascinating.
All right, well, join us next week for our third week of the Self-Love Challenge.
Yes.